is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. We begin with breaking news in Fort Lauderdale. Police are investigating a possible shooting that led to a SWAT standoff. Authorities say it all started when several shots were fired before a man rushed into a tattoo parlor. Shot report was over the scene. This is along West Broward Boulevard and 33rd Avenue. It is still an active scene. CBS News Miami's Peter Dinch is there. We'll have a full breakdown tonight at 5.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
Taking a live look outside, a rainy afternoon across South Florida, but on the bright side, it is bringing a little relief from the heat. Let's get right to Next Weather Chief Meteorologist and Hurricane Specialist Ivan Cabrera.
Yeah, a ton of relief. If I didn't know what time of day it was, I mean, these temperatures are something here. Upper 70s, the coldest temperatures so far today. We've been stuck in the 90s with triple-digit heat and the heat advisories. As we talked about yesterday, this is how we break a heat wave, and plenty of rainfall coming in. Now, what's happening here is that we've exited the strongest thunderstorms here with frequent lightning and heavy downpours. Those are now, as you can see, well offshore. But this pattern setting up here is going to take a while to dry out. So I think for the rest of the evening, we're just going to have those nuisance kind of light showers and drizzle. And we really aren't going to dry out significantly through the rest of today. The roads, of course, are wet. No flood advisories. We haven't rained in a while, so the ground was able to take that without much ado here. As we check in on Rain Tracker, you see everything kind of winding down, but really just taking its time to do so as we head into tomorrow and then for the rest of the week and into the weekend. With this increased moisture, we will have daily rounds of afternoon thunderstorms, and then heading into the weekend we'll transition into some morning showers. There's your Friday night, and then for Saturday morning, with that east wind reestablished here, a few showers in the morning, and then by the afternoon we'll see some inland thunderstorms. I think coverage actually lower on Saturday before we get into a little bit higher coverage as we head into Sunday, particularly through the morning hours. Looks like we'll have some good downpours early Sunday morning before we dry things out. And the tropics related in a way is this broad area of low pressure that the National Hurricane Center has been monitoring here. Not really looking like a high chance of developing. In fact, it's 10%, but you can kind of see the spin here with a broad low. When we talk about broad lows, that means the system is not tightly wound up. A compact low is what you were looking for development here. So rain chances again pretty high heading into tomorrow. We'll keep it that way through the end of the week, and then for the upcoming weekend we'll have temperatures in the lower 90s, overnight lows in the 80s, but no heat advisories really expected the next few days as we'll have those nice afternoon thunderstorms to cool us off.
A win in court for the parents of the OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney. The 29-year-old is accused of killing her then boyfriend. Prosecutors have now dropped computer crimes charges against the couple. CBS News Miami's Peter Dinch reports from Miami.
It's a victory for the parents of Courtney Clenney, who's accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death in their condo in Miami in 2022. Clenney and her parents were in court for the announcement by the state to drop computer hacking charges against them. The judge had ruled last month that prosecutors violated attorney-client privilege when they confiscated text messages and emails between Clenney, her parents, and their attorneys. We heard from Clenney's father and their attorney.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Judge Cruz for treating us fairly. I think justice was served today. Finally, truth has prevailed. Also, I'd like to say that this has been an ordeal for Deborah and myself for 5 months, especially for the last 2 years with Courtney being held unjustly for a crime that she did not commit.
Judge Cruz found definitively that they invaded confidential communications, not just about the computer, but also about Ms. Courtney Clenney's homicide case and strategy and defense communication.
In a closeout memo, the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office said while they disagreed with the court's analysis, they respect it and accept it and will now concentrate on the criminal prosecution of Courtney Clenney for her upcoming case. We'll have much more on this story coming up in just an hour at 5. In Miami, Peter Dinch, CBS News Miami.
A second day of testimony today. It's in the involuntary manslaughter trial of actor Alec Baldwin. He is accused of pulling the trigger of a gun, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins on a movie set nearly 3 years ago. In opening statements, prosecutors accuse the actor of playing make-believe with a real gun.
What did you find?
These were the rounds inside of the box.
And can you tell the jury the significance of that round?
Yes, this round with the silver primer was a live round.
But you don't know whether somebody was rifling through this box and just missed one, do you?
No.
Baldwin has pleaded not guilty. He has maintained he did not pull the trigger after he discharged a prop gun. If convicted, the actor could face up to 18 months in prison and a $5,000 fine. Now at 4, another scary moment for airline passengers, this time on an American Airlines flight. A tire blew off just before takeoff. It happened at Tampa's International Airport. CBS News Miami's Elaine Cahona has the details.
In a matter of seconds, a routine takeoff turned into an emergency as a tire blew out on American Airlines Flight 590 from Tampa to Phoenix Wednesday morning, damaging other tires in the process.
We had a blown tire and we're going to be needing to fill 2 degrees.
174 passengers and 6 crew members were on board the plane, a 25-year-old Boeing 737, as the flight was aborted on the runway just over a minute after it had been cleared for takeoff.
And all of a sudden we heard a boom, boom.
Raynon Galindo was a passenger on the flight.
The left side of the plane, the tires were flat. On the right side of the plane, the tires were shredded.
American Airlines said there were no injuries, adding that the passengers deplaned safely, were bused back to the terminal, and were put on a replacement flight. It comes after a wheel fell from a United Airlines flight during takeoff in Los Angeles Monday. That plane, a 29-year-old Boeing 757, continued to its destination and landed safely. That followed a similar case in March when another wheel fell as a 22-year-old United Boeing 777 departed from San Francisco, damaging cars in a parking lot just off the runway. That incident and several others led the FAA to launch a safety compliance review of United, which is ongoing. The airline's CEO has said the incidents, quote, have sharpened our focus.
Elaine Quijano, CBS News.
When we come back, learn which Florida university is ranked at the top for offering the best bang for your buck. Stay with us. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. President Biden has had a very busy week hosting a summit of world leaders and trying to convince Democrats that he is up for the challenge of running for re-election. Many say they will be closely watching tonight. It will be his first solo press conference since last November, and the stakes are very high following his debate performance a few weeks ago. CBS News Miami's Skylar Henry live from the White House with us this afternoon with the very latest. Skylar.
Hey, Naja, good to see you. Yeah, to call this high stakes is an understatement for the president. He will have an opportunity to prove to those who are concerned about his re-election bid that he is up for the job, not only to beat former President Trump, but continue to serve for 4 more years. We'll see how he responds, whether his performance will be good enough for not only those within his party, but for those who may potentially be thinking about considering something else come November.
President Biden spent the day meeting with world leaders as the NATO summit he's hosting in Washington is coming to an end.
We are counting heavily on America's support in this. God bless America. Slava Ukraine.
We will stay with you, period.
All eyes have been on Biden throughout the event to see how he handles the rigors of the summit.
I have absolutely no concerns about the capacity of the current president of the United States.
But Americans themselves, and especially Democrats on Capitol Hill, will be closely watching the president's solo press conference this evening to see how he performs.
I think the president has to present a clear and convincing case to the American people, not only tonight, but in everything he does.
Senior Biden campaign advisors met with Senate Democrats behind closed doors to try to reassure them that the president can run and win. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries will be talking with the president himself to express concerns some of his members have about the president's run.
We're continuing to have conversations with each other, and those have been candid, comprehensive, and clear-eyed.
A new Washington Post poll shows a majority of Americans and Democrats say that following the president's debate performance, he should step aside. But the poll also shows President Biden still running even with former President Trump. We should also point out that that same poll shows that in that same situation, a hypothetical matchup, Vice President Kamala Harris running slightly ahead against the former president if that were to be the case. But again, President Biden has said in interviews and publicly and on the campaign trail that he is in it to win it. So we'll see ultimately what happens during that press conference tonight.
Skylar, thank you. All eyes will be on that press conference. You can count on that. If your teens are still deciding where they want to go to college, 2 words, Florida State. According to the Princeton Review, FSU is the top-ranked best value public university in Florida. Florida State also ranked number 16 on the list nationally. FSU's president says the ranking is a reflection of their focus on reducing financial barriers to enrollment. The Princeton Review also included FSU in the top 20 among public schools for best alumni networks. That's your CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami and have a great day.